Hello, this is Pixxie Love, and welcome to the very first episode of She Likes It Deep podcast. I'm super happy to be here, and I'm also really grateful that you are here with me too in this beautiful space. It's been a long time coming for me to record my own podcast, and actually in the process of launching this, which feels like it's taken forever. Has gone through a name change. Originally it was called Welcome to the Self-Love Club, and it seems I found my edge in that process, and actually makes so much sense for me to base this podcast around my expression, around my sensuality, my journey to stepping into that and really owning that expression. So if you are feeling the call to explore your sensuality, to go deep with your inner work, to really step into your authentic expression, then you are definitely in the right place. I've had some amazing questions through the poll that I did on Instagram, which I'm going to be answering a few of at the end. And I think I had around 70 questions in total. So I'm just going to dedicate around some energy to around 3 or so, and that'll keep me going through a lot of podcasts, because like I said, I had 70. Some probably I won't answer on this podcast or at all actually, but some really good deep questions. So the title really feels like it fits what I'm doing here, and suggests that the topics that I'm going to be talking about will be juicy, and also I'm going to be going deep with them, because in true nature, surface level is not for me. So it feels like a good place to get started with where this has all come from for me, and my journey I will be talking about for sure, in terms of stepping into my expression, and the things that I had to go through to get there was a lot of healing. Actually, one of the questions that I'll be answering from my Instagram poll is around shame and judgment, and those feelings that we often feel through societal conditioning around sensual and sexual expression, because of the way that we've been conditioned to believe that there is a right or wrong, or that there's something bad with expressing ourselves sensually and sexually. And actually the only thing that limits us really is the belief systems and the judgments, and the perceptions of usually the people around us, but as a reflection of how we feel within ourselves. And what I've learned through the years is that judgment comes from a place of suppression. So when you are suppressed in your expression, these feelings of judgment and shame, they are present because we are there's something that feels like it's stopping us from being forthcoming with our expression through, in my experience anyway, the fear of other people's perception, of other people's reactions. Actually, when you get down to all of that, the only thing that you're really concerned about is your own feelings of rejection. It was really connected to me to feelings of abandonment, where I actually created some chaotic situations in my life to almost materialize my fears so that I wasn't afraid of them anymore. It sounds a little bit of a crazy way to do it, but that is how my path took me. So I'm in Ibiza now, and really feel like I am in a place where authentic expression, especially sexual and sensual, is super supported here. But actually, for me, the most powerful thing was to step into this expression within the environment that I was conditioned within. So, I went to the UK, to Wales for 18 months. And I wanted to work through all of these blocks that I had and these feelings in where it originated from, in the root, surrounded by energy that is suppressed in its expression. And to really own that and to keep showing up in that expression as much as I possibly could within an environment that was really not supportive of that. Because actually, when it came down to it, what I realized was that finally the judgments and the reactions of other people didn't belong to me, because for me to express myself authentically is the only option and carries no shame and judgment. But to get to that point, I had to go through the feelings of shame and judgment that were being reflected in my external reality to really tap into, where is this actually coming from? This is coming from the people around me now, because when you go through a process of healing and a healing journey, you release these conditions. So every time that you release that energy from your body, it also releases from your mind, from your nervous system, from your energetic field, and finally from the reflections within your life, because you choose to meet yourself in a place, and then you also choose that you want to be around people who meet you there too. So it really, for me, stepping into authentic expression is just about taking your power back from the environment, from the people around you, from thinking that anyone's judgment or perception has got anything to do with you, because it hasn't. And whatever way that you're expressing yourself, it will be judged by somebody somewhere, because it's a catalyst also for their change. And when you can learn to self-reflect, and actually use those reflections of judgment as a way to look within and see what it is that you may be suppressing, it really is so powerful, because you don't give your energy to the reactions of the people around you anymore. It's not about that. It's about being you. It's about being magnetic. It's about being within your authentic expression and feeling comfortable and confident there and knowing how to work with it. So yeah, it takes me way back. Then when you go through that healing process, you access where the essence came from. And for me, I can remember way back now, this was suppressed for a long time because I had a lot of energy within my womb space, a lot of sexual energy and interactions that were not aligned. So there's a cleaning process that has to happen for that, to us to get back to that pure perspective. And when I say pure, I don't mean white is white and always angelic. For me, pure is just real and true, and that can come through in many different ways for me personally. But yeah, when you do that cleaning and that process, you access where that energy and that essence originally came from. And for me, I can remember being very young, 5, and being in the assembly in school and being in the front row and thinking, whoa, my headmaster has a huge penis. And I wasn't exposed to sexual situations in the house. That was a very private thing in my world. But I was just fascinated by this man's penis, and it was completely innocent. I had a boyfriend. We played Robin Hood. We used to kiss. I can remember for as long, really feeling that level of sensuality within those interactions. And when you tap into those memories, you realize that it comes from a really innocent place. This boy, I'm kissing this boy in Australia. I can just remember how good it felt, to be having that level of intimacy. And he was the same age, and it was super innocent, but at the same time so profound to be able to remember that feeling now and know that it only came from a place of curiosity and play. It's so primal sensual expression, and over the years and distorted perceptions and conditions, and there's been a lot of there's a lot of energy to clean when it comes to sensuality and sexuality. And a really sacredness is something that I like to carry through all of my interactions, and as an essence in life. I often hear within the spiritual world people talking about sacred sex, and I really feel strongly that sometimes we can apply our conditioning to, for example, sacred sex means that you just have sex with one person, but sacredness is an energy which can, when we think about unity, all coming together, all sharing love. It's not to say that we connect with everyone in a sensual way, but you can experience a sacred connection within more than one dynamic and in more than one way. It doesn't always have to be the same reflection. Just a reflection that came to me recently based on some conversations that I had, and around what feels good for us all, like for one person, having one partner may feel like the most aligned thing, and for another person, they may be more open to play outside, but that there's no right or wrong. And what I'm learning through my expression, through my interactions, through other people's reflections also, and sharing their perspectives, is that we're all completely different. And unity for me is just about being able to accept each other in our expressions without casting the shadow of judgment from our limited perspective of our experience, where we maybe don't understand where the other person is coming from, because we don't have the same experiences, we don't have the same desires, and that's what makes life interesting and beautiful, and we're all so unique and so different. Wow, feels like a big introduction, and a good way to introduce and to share and inspire other people to really start to tap into what it means to be them, and how you want to show up in the world, like often our desires we can suppress, because even for myself, I've been so connected to myself sensually and sexually since such a young age, but I haven't always felt the confidence to fully express. And like I said, that depends on your environment. But what I've learned is that your environment is created within first and then reflects out. So you have to do the inner work to get to the point where you can really step into that physically. And like I said, often we can find ourselves controlled by the conditions of our environment. When we take ourselves out of that, almost out of it personally, and looking at it more collectively, and also creating our own environments within an environment. You don't have to become the environment you are in. Yeah, of course, it impacts on some of our behaviors. For example, when I was in the UK, I would have resistance now probably to being naked there, because it's just not supported in the environment, and for me the reaction is not worth the expression almost. But then when you get to that point, you really learn that how important it is to be in an environment that supports your expression, and that really is alignment. And when you decide to take that step and step into an environment that supports your expression, the universe really shows up for you because the vibration of the place can hold what you really want to express in this world. So yes, I hope that this inspires you to really face those judgments and those fears of, where does it come from? How can I take my power back from this? Who am I afraid of? What's the outcome? For me, it was abandonment, and it happened for me. It did actually materialize in my life because I thought about it enough. And where we put our focus, where we put our energy, is where energy also flows to. So back to the healing process. When we can take those fragments back, we don't energize the option that doesn't align with us anymore. We become more focused in actually what the vision is, what the feeling is. That's where magnetism comes from. So yes, thank you for listening. I'm going to answer some of the questions now from the poll from Instagram. So what has been your most powerful practice to embody your sexual energy? I'm super happy to answer this one. This is from my absolute bestie bunkie, Sean. And yeah, a super powerful question. For me, my sexual energy, my sexiness has been an essence that has been embodied for me forever. Have I always shown up fully in that? No. I would say my most powerful tool has been to video and photograph myself while I'm dancing, while I'm just flowing, sometimes with awareness, sometimes forgetting the camera's there, and watching back my expression and really being like in awe of how full my expression is. And yeah, almost just becoming obsessed with my expression really helped me to own it, and to be pretty unapologetic in it, really. And that process was not comfortable for me. Yeah, it's an interesting thing to see yourself expressing in your fullness on a video and to be that vulnerable and exposed. But then to get to the point where you enjoy watching your own videos and it brings you pleasure, and it actually is just like so self-fulfilling, like the life force energy and the process and the attraction to just pure expression is like, wow, the whole cycle completed, I would say. So yeah, if you're not fully confident in your expression and you desire to be, mirror work and yeah, in my experience, mirror work and videos have been the most powerful thing. And also to share, yeah, it wasn't always comfortable for me to share my expression on Instagram, for example, and the more that you do that and also are not connected to the outcome of, oh, if nobody, like, you know, I really got very comfortable with nobody was really interacting with my posts, and I'm like, okay, that's fine, I'm doing this for me, this is my pleasure, you know. So yeah, thank you so much for the question. And the next question is, what do you feel when you are observed naked in public? I answered this one briefly on an Instagram post, but I just wanted to kind of tap into it a little bit more. For me, being in a public environment, especially the beach, is a super sacred. I'm using the word sacred now, and sacred can mean anything. So yeah, I'm not limiting it. But it's an introspective experience for me where I really want to be connected to nature. I'm very in my soft, playful energy. The reason for me being naked is that I want the sun on my skin, on my yoni. It feels beautiful for me to go in the sea and swim. And then I've also talked about being in like a fetish party, for example. When you are in different energies, in different environments, of course, your expression and your feelings about observation are different. For me, it's really about reading energy. And like, for example, on the beach, I'm not really that interested in interacting with new people, especially when I'm naked. There's some excitement that came initially with taking my clothes off in public, because it was such a suppressed thing for me to do. It was unheard of. If my mum has friends who are nudists, and they used to talk about them, and be like, whoa, like I can even remember being like, whoa, that's crazy. What, they just like go on holiday and take their clothes off? And then I can remember doing it for the first time in Ibiza by the pool, and my partner at the time was sleeping next to me, and I was so turned on by the fact that I was naked, and like, wow, it was just the most liberating feeling. But I feel like the more that you do it, obviously the energy changes, and it feels very normal for me. Actually, it feels really strange for me to wear a bikini on the beach, but that doesn't mean that I always want the attention of other. Well, actually, yeah, attention is attention, and it's fine. It is really nice to be able to read energy and give people space, you know, and also understand that not everyone's naked on the beach for the same reason. Some people may be there because they get a thrill from interacting in that way. But that doesn't mean that that's a reflection for everyone, you know? So just to be able to honor other people's space is super respectful. And for me, being respectful in energy is everything, really everything. It's a safe space. So yeah, thanks for the question. I'm happy to go into it in a bit more detail. And then the final question, which I think this is from Ahmed, who, has been kind of following me on Instagram for a little while now. I'm grateful for all of the beautiful things that he shares. He asked a lot of questions. I'm going to answer one today and then maybe some in the next podcast. But the question is, how can I begin to explore and embrace my sensuality and sexual needs without feeling shame or fear? Coming from a Muslim community, it has been hard. I totally understand. I'm not from a Muslim community, but I am from a very small, closed, old school community in Wales. So I understand how powerful those external conditions can be. For me, I would say try and find a way to express yourself that is not going to cause you too much confrontation or challenge within your environment, but where you can still do it. For example, even just taking pictures of not everyone enjoys taking pictures and videos of yourself. That's my thing. So I'm saying this because it's natural for me. But find a way where you can still express yourself without being too much exposed in an environment that maybe doesn't support that so much right now, and making connections outside of that environment where you can explore that a little bit more. The feelings of fear, shame, to be honest, there's absolutely no avoiding these things. For me, alchemy is everything. So when we can face those emotions and feelings and really understand where they're coming from, and also keep moving forward with small steps of how to express, that's the most healing thing that we can do, because everything needs to be felt to be released. So there's no avoiding what you're feeling. You will have to go through those feelings to make progress and to step more authentically into yourself. But just try and do it in a way that's super kind. I didn't always do that. I was very extreme in the things that I created because I wanted it to be done fast. I think the element of impatience was probably, a good thing for me, but not always easy because, quite a lot of the nervous system. What I've learned from my experiences being so extreme, there are kind of ways that you can do things on the nervous system. And if you can do it that way and learn to have that approach from the offset, then you're definitely doing yourself a favor, because the nervous system, when it becomes out of balance or dysregulated, that's the word, it can take some time to calm down. And if you're not in an environment that really supports that, then it can be quite tricky to navigate. So try and do it in a way that's safe for yourself within the environment, and just tap into some different some different fields, some different people like you are now outside of that conditioned environment. And just know that it's not the same everywhere and you do have a choice. So that's the questions answered. Wow, this is so amazing. I'm so happy. And really just want to say it's taken me a long time to record this, and I have no idea why, other than just believing that I could do it, and that when I started talking that it would flow, and it has, and I'm super grateful for that. I just want to kind of say, if there's thoughts that are holding you back from doing something that you just cannot stop thinking about, just take the step. Just even write a note about doing it, and then tomorrow take the next step of the next level. And step by step, it really, you start to step into your expression in all of the ways that feel so good. So thank you so much for listening, and I'll speak to you again soon. So much love.